Recycle of the Penguindrum Parts 1 and 2 review. Sibling Kanpa, Shoma and Himari are at the aquarium one day when Himari collapses and eventually dies. She's been sick for a while, but her brothers are still in shock when the penguin hat Himari purchased at the aquarium suddenly brings her back to life. But in exchange for extending her life, the mysterious spirit within the hat demands that Shoma and Kanba find the penguin drum. The first clue is to find a girl named Ringo, who has a mysterious diary that can somewhat tell the future. But it's in all of the past that connection was made and shaped their destiny. It is now about to come crashing down upon them all. A first review Penguindrum back in 2013, when it was first released by Manga Yuki, but has since gone out of print. I will admit, I'm not proud of my original reviews. Also in the random Utena movie released for MVM a few years earlier, I had never experienced Kunihiko Ikuhara's work, so the over-the-top visuals, choppy storytelling, and layered themes buried underneath at all. What mostly lost in me at the time, I never gone back to rewatch it, so I am pleased to be given an opportunity to re-experience it again in the movie form. Mostly due to that in 2020, I did a deep dive into Revolutionary Girl Utena, but it was released on the UK on Blu-ray and feels like I grew on a third eye just for Kunihiko Ikuhara's work as a result, as well as an appreciation for his particular style. While a compilation film movie is never going to be a substitute for the experience of the original length TV series, I can say that re-experiencing the story in the movie format many years after my initial watch gave me a new appreciation for it. I get now what Kunihiko Ikuhara was going for. I really enjoyed the 4+ hours ride the movies provided. Let's first tackle what made the chopping block from TV to movie. It was been added to warrant the movie remake. The two-part movie covers all 24 episodes of the series and does a really good job of telling the wacky story from beginning to end, but some cuts had to be made. One cut I do appreciate is the unfortunate rape scene for the original series. It's a rather infamous section in the anime because it comes out of nowhere and is never addressed afterwards or given the weight the act should have done. So ditching it for the film was a smart idea. Sadly, the biggest cuts are made to the backstories, outdrawing there is a lot to keep in this movie, with the amount of flashback graphics you see across the movies. Would be surprised that there are still slots on the cutting room floor, including the key ones like Ringo's parents and Himari's first meeting with Shoma. However, a few of the emotional punches and the twists of the complex relationship dynamics across the main three protagonists doesn't land as hard here as in the TV series. My personal favorite episode of the series, episode 9, which reveals Himari's relationship to the double-aged idols, struck very well in the original anime, but here is trimmed down so much that I question why I like it so much in the first place. Then there's Masako, whose backstory is completely stripped away, and her secret relationship to Kanba is relegated to dialogue only, which obviously doesn't land well due to her, and by extension, Kanba's backstory not being used in the movie. In terms of new content, there is not that much. The movie has been refrained to be like a flashback that what happened earlier, and most of the new footage is tied into a new version of the spirit within the hat. A lot of the new clips also make use of real-life footage, which gave me an Evangelion vibe. But I will say that going for the reused footage of the new clips is like jumping from HD to 4K. This isn't dismissing the original animation from the TV series. It's still animated incredibly well and holds up by today's standards, but you can tell that the movie exclusive clips are rendered in a wholly different way, and the sharpness and quality jumps in between. But what about the story itself? How intact it is from TV to movie format? Well, due to the erratic nature of said story, it should be said that either films follow a movie structure, 3-act plot. However, Kunihiko Ikuhara did do a good job of moving certain flashbacks around to make them and more naturally in the narrative of the new movie pacing, rather than just placing them where they were in the TV series. And if all you wanted just to experiencing Penguindrum, then that's what you get. The new framing device has a slightly happier ending note to the finale, but the story is complete and is still a unique tale of overcoming and living with trauma and abuse, especially the abuse bordered by parents onto children and how it affects them even into adulthood. The story at the start talks a lot about fate and destiny, but it's not the magical kind that grants a hero powers to save the world. It's a kind that gives a child horrific way to carry before they can learn how to carry themselves. The fate they're referring to is being forever branded by the actions of their parents and how, by extension, society expects them to never achieve anything. As the spirit of the hat tells them, the movie looks on what happens when the actions of parents affect the children. whether it's an adult's actions that can shape an entire family, like committing a crime, and therefore forever label their kids as monsters just by association, or something more direct like physically abusing their kids. It creates a permanent scar on the kids. They are born with a weight that they don't choose to carry, and often as a result of felt loss, alone and unloved. The most someone advocates said trauma that they did not want or learn, and still maintain a semblance of life despite little to no help from society and when it's feel undealt with, and if they somehow survive. They grow into broken adults who continue the cycle of abuse because trauma has no expiry date. The movie uses a real life event from Japan that in one spot as it revealed at the end of part 1. They show how such actions of adults can have systemic effects across not just multiple lives but also generations. But what has it got to do with the cute penguins that follow our heroes around the place? Well, aside from obvious comedy to try to offset the darker themes, they also represent sad trauma. Trauma isn't something you can just throw away. It's been all the time and sometimes can feel like it sinks into everything you see and do. The movie has many scenes where penguins are in logos and corporations, stickers and books, labels and packages, etc. But we deal with healthily, although it's still there. Trauma does not have to weigh you down. There's plenty of scenes where the characters and, by associations, the penguins are eating food, nighting, playing, etc. Trauma will always be the part of the team. But it's not the only part of them, that's what I got out of it anyway. Konihiko Ikuhara isn't one of a review what all the symbolisms means. In terms of subtitles, there are a few weird edits made across both movies. For example, the second film has the songs translated but part 1 does not. Also, if more than one character is talking across multiple sentences, then the lines jump around from frame to frame and keeping chopping and changing which characters is saying what. It's gotta be confusing sometimes. Recycle of the Penguindrum, it's a well ride, just like the original TV series. It doesn't add much to the already dense story, but I still enjoy the experience either way. If you haven't seen the series, the movie may feel overwhelming and is packing a full story in such a short time frame. If it is the only way to experience that story, then it's one hell of a movie. Experiences that you've been thinking about long after you left the cinema. It'd be nice if Konihiko Ikuhara could do more finished films in the future. They're certainly fun to talk and write about. Recycle of the Penguindrum is in cinemas May 20th. Purchase your tickets here. 8 out of 10.